back, and it's news night. And of course, the news cycle is all about SpaceX, 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 SpaceX. Oh, and did I mention SpaceX? While the stock briefly went past Amazon's market cap the other day, today it went back down again. I would expect similar volatility going forward the next few months. Buy in the dips? I plan to. Catalyst Space raised $12 million for a geo-servicing demo. Dawn Aerospace raised $25 million. France awards Eutelsat 138 million euros for secure communications. Here we go again. NASA announced a public-private partnership to advance Mars exploration. I may have a few words about that. Here's the one I think was the funny one of the night. Eric Schmidt's Relativity Space, which has one failed launch to its credit, now says it will build and fly a Mars orbiter by 2028. Do you believe it? We'll see. A secret Chinese probe arrived at one of Earth's little quasi-moons out there and is supposed to attempt a landing. Wes Fairs, call your office. Weren't you claiming one of those? Meantime, broadcasters want companies like SpaceX to pay more FCC fees and probably others besides. Supposedly, according to a report, the global space economy is now expected to triple by 2035. Aviation Week asked the question whether SpaceX's Mars mission is based on an unproven or a dangerous premise. Of course, we'll discuss. And our main topic tonight, we can't get more Elons or Sergeys or Jensens without strong internal national ecosystems backing and enabling them to grow and thrive. So stick around. It's going to be a wild one tonight. From the news desk at the Center for Space Commerce and Finance, my name is Thomas Andrew Olson, and this is the Unknown Quantity. As you know, this show is brought to you by the Center for Space Commerce and Finance. But tonight, instead of my usual sponsor spiel this evening, I want to leave with this. It's almost like a public service announcement, but not quite. I want to say congratulations to all the newly minted multi-million-dollar class from SpaceX, all 4,400 of you, it turns out. Now, as we know, with human nature and financial windfalls, you'll be probed and prodded and hunted. Oh my. The Center for Space Commerce and Finance would like to simply say we have, since 2009, crafted stellar deal flow that's also rife with impact, which may resonate with SpaceXers who love the idea of space for good. Space, terrestrial, and humanitarian mission imperatives baked into the pie. From our micro grants all the way to Series A and even B rounds are on offer, vetted, investor ready. We've already induced 98 startups to the world and have no intention of stopping anytime soon. So, having said that, we welcome SpaceXers to chase us. Come on, reach out if you have a serious interest in funding serious space startups. We won't be haranguing anyone for money. We know what that feels like. And we know what we're worth, and we have the track record to show it. And you can reach us at info@cscf.space. In the meantime, as always, like, subscribe, and tell your friends. Speaking of friends, my oldest space friend, Michael Lane, who just finished a fire purification ritual, is here with me. Michael, come on in, man. Hey.
How's
you don't look worse for wear. Your eyebrows aren't singed or anything. What's up?
I've been limping for days.
Yeah.
I just came back from a PT, a walk with my mom. Took us an hour and a half to walk a mile and a half, and I am in rough shape. That fall on Sunday, I bruised everything and cut everything, but no emergency room trip. Just fell on the rocks. So it was not very much fun, but I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And you are back from your epic trip. Now you're back home. Went out to see, ISDC in Washington D.C. with me, and then on to your friend in Ohio, and now you're back home. How you doing? How was
I am doing okay. The road trip was really good. I'm none the worse for wear. The car is none the worse for wear. I made it in one piece. Everything is fine. And now, of course, I'm back in Florida where it's 95 degrees and swampy every single day. It started early and it looks like there's no end in sight until September. So here we are, living in an air-conditioned room, doing this wonderful show, however. Yes. Thanks, yep. Sean. He calls me a swamp ass. Hey, you live here too, pal. So swamp ass. Oh, God. Host, no alcohol was injured in his fall.
No, I have my water bottle, and it's just water, but I'm like,
yeah.
It was
yeah. Jason's here. Hi, Jason. I hope some other folks come by. It's going to be an interesting evening. Good to see you. I do have some news, so maybe I should just share that right now.
I would.
I will. Yes, we're getting ready to relaunch our Series A anyway. That will happen on July 5th. But ahead of time, we've already closed a $1 million deal to keep the lights on and keep things moving, especially with the bureaucratic stuff going on in the UK to get our.
Wait! You got to give folks an idea of what Avialto is, because you just started talking about the.
Yes, I know, because I assume everybody knows that I've been yammering about it for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Avialto is my day job. That's the company that I work for and have some shares in that. We're building high altitude platforms for basically third world countries. A couple of billion people are not served by almost anybody, and they certainly can't afford Starlink. And we found a way to solve that problem. We are on our way to raising a 40 mil Series A to actually build out that technology, build our factory in the UK, and our first customer is going to be in Malaysia and Indonesia later. And so this gets us on our way. This latest little kind of pre-round that just gets all those things moving.
And that's signed, sealed, waiting on the checks, but it's a signed document as of.
Absolutely. There is a signed document with people's names on it. So it's,
Congrats. I know you've been working on it for a long time.
Yep.
As our producer is saying, make sure to disclose that this is not an offer, blah, 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 but It's still not an offer. Whatever that means to you, it's not an offer. Right.
We're not. That part we're not doing. When we launch the official reboot, we'll be sending out a formal press release. But that's standard boilerplate. So,
Jason is asking if it's high altitude. It's very high altitude. I'm not going to try and be an expert because this is.
It's okay. It's 18 to 25 kilometers.
Yeah, pretty far
altitude, depending on what latitude you're at.
Yeah.
And so. Where can we find out more? Well, you can go to faalto.com. You want to put that up there. That's, that tells you pretty much everything that we're doing. And we haven't announced our deal yet, obviously, because it just happened like a few hours ago. Yeah. But there's a lot of things going on between now
and. Did I spell that right? AVEALTO?
AVEALTO. Avialto.
That's what
Skybird in Spanish.
Yeah. And Jason, we're gonna bring Walt, Tom's boss, onto the show in a few weeks, so we'll be kind of dedicating.
It could be as early as next Thursday. I don't think we have a guest next Thursday, or the guest we had to reschedule or something. That was the last I heard, like a day ago. So we could have Walt on, a week from tonight.
Oh, that would be great.
But Sean's saying, no, we have a guest. Well, Wrong again. Here we go.
We will get Walt on the show soon. That is what we can say.
That's all we can.
I'm not trying to do Sean's job for him. But
Dallas Beanhump just came in. He says, "Is our customer near the recent earthquake site?" I don't think so, but I'll have to double check on that.
Yeah. So congratulations. buddy.
Yep.
You've been working on this for a long time, and it's big news.
Looks like we're getting traction again and moving the needle. So that's
folks don't know. And Sean is reminding us we're 10 minutes in after this chit chat. Folks don't know, but you've been working on this for a long time. You built a pretty big, I was about to say spacecraft, aircraft a couple of years ago. You learned a lot. And so now you're at the stage where you know what you're doing, you know how to build it. Now it's time to build the factory that builds the bots.
Right.
Yeah.
That's essentially it.
Yep.
We build it, we fill it up once to make sure it works. We break it down, pack it up, put it in a shipping container, and off it goes.
Yeah.
And with the 40 mil, we'll build the factory, and we'll also be able to build 3 of the units.
Great.
And we'll deploy at least 2 of them at once and have 1 in reserve, just to test everything out. But we should be, once those are in the air in Malaysia, we'll be earning revenue from day 1.
Day 1 revenue. Boy, I would like that. That sounds like a good plan.
Wouldn't everybody?
Hi, Paul. Don't know who you are, but glad to have you here. And I don't know what Jason is saying about congratulations to Dallas, but Dallas is our guest in a couple days. So I guess I'll learn that then. But Dallas, I owe you a call. We had some interesting conversations after our talk last week. So thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Dallas is on next Thursday. Dallas is on next Thursday.
Next Thursday. We got Ron Wiener on Monday. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. Yep. Okay, well, we've got all sorts of stuff. Since we don't have a guest, we have lots of news and an interesting topic. I think we're gonna be able to really dive in. So let's start with that. I think the first off, a lot of this stuff will probably happen quickly, simply because we've seen a lot of it. There was a report just yesterday that said the SpaceX valuation ballooned to $2.6 trillion, and it briefly passed Amazon. And so
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you, Tom. Did you see Sean's post? He's like, we need to do a potty mouth disclaimer. Folks, for those that are new, this is not a family-friendly program, and we have some opinions today. So just so you know, if you have little kids, I'm not. We're not going to go on crazy rants or anything, but
no,
we are not filtering ourselves, and we have strong opinions on the news this week.
Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. So, but the point is, these are kind of back-to-back things. Yeah. So you have one day where it says the valuation balloons to $2.6 trillion. It passed Amazon briefly, but it was only briefly in the last day and a half. It has kind of clawed that back. In fact, in the futurism, it says SpaceX stock had quite a bad night. Yeah. And so I haven't actually ended up getting any shares yet because of this, because my broker, whom you know, he said, I'm not going to chase that. We agreed on a certain price we thought was good.
Right.
And and so we had and so he said, okay, I'm going to do a put option. And when it drops to a certain price, I'll buy it that way. I don't have to risk a little cash to do the put option for the next month or so. And so I'll end up with some shares and probably at a reasonable price, but buying the dips, that's what I always say. But this is the kind of stock that's so volatile right now in its early days. You'll have a dip one day and a boing the next.
I want to actually look at this for a second.
Okay.
So, this is just a weekend, right? A weekend.
Not even that.
Well, right. Not even that.
Days, and actually only 4 business days in.
Right. Crested over 200. Max was 219. Let's call it 220 for simple math. But this is not getting enough attention. Yes, this is 6 days old. This is 4 days of trading, whatever. But it was only 5 weeks ago that they had a stock split, a 5-for-1 stock split, which priced the stock at $105.
Right.
So it has, if you take the high that came out 2 days ago, if you take the high, It is more than doubled in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
In 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. So it's
And
cool that
yeah.
it's gone from 135 to 182 ish, but that's not the whole story. And I cannot believe people are not talking about this in conjunction with the stock split. So
Yeah.
when Tom started the show, when you started the show, you're like, hey, you know, there's 4,400 millionaires at SpaceX now, but the value went up. It doubled. So there may be a whole lot more than 4,400 that we don't know about.
Well, but then you go and look at that, and then you go to see, okay, it went up briefly past Amazon, but then a whole bunch of it got clawed back, and it actually lost 100 billion of value out of that 1.7 trillion in one afternoon.
Right.
So, you know, those 4,400, they're bouncing up and down too, and they have a hold period. They can't start cashing in for a couple months.
Two people yesterday asked me my opinion on investing, and again, different disclaimer: Tom and I are no longer financial professionals. We were
right. We don't have a series anything.
We have series nothing anymore, right? So we are not qualified to give investment advice, nor should you take it. But I was saying weeks ago, like, well, I've changed my mind. I would do this. But my friend, two different friends asked me yesterday. I'm like, I don't know. It's gone up 40% in 3 days, but I don't know what tomorrow looks like.
Right.
But I do know it's doubled in price in 5 weeks. And there are a hell of a lot more than the 4,400 people that are sitting at $1 million now.
Well, it went from that 105 you talked about up to 135 just hours before the open on Friday.
Right.
And it actually opened at 140, I think.
At 150. It opened at 150.
It opened at 150.
They priced it at 135. They delayed ringing the bell for a couple hours, and they opened at 150 because it was a feeding frenzy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So good on them. Congratulations. Happy for everybody involved. I don't know what the future looks like. I don't.
Right. Joe Bistritto's with us. Welcome back, Joe. Always glad to have you here. He said, oh, yeah, people are talking about the value of their SpaceX shares. The amusing thing about the SpaceX tape is the number of one-share trades. A lot of people are getting one share just to say they have it. You know, They don't care if it grows or not. They just want to have one because it's history. You know.
I had not noticed that. That's pretty funny. Did you know that the ticker symbol SPCE space, which is Virgin's, they had a 30% bump on the opening trade day because everybody thought they were buying SpaceX and they were buying Virgin. So a company that hasn't flown in 2 years had a 30% bump that day just by accident.
So is that the halo effect?
Yeah. Well, it's a typo effect. But as Dallas was asking the other day, most of the other space stocks are way down. So that's pretty interesting. People are moving from Redwire and Rocket Lab and a bunch of others. They're putting all of their space eggs in a single basket. Yeah.
And
all right, let's move on.
Okay, I got to mention though, our new buddy Paul Clayworth here wrote something that I don't understand a word he's saying.
Okay.
But it has algebra and it has, octonians. What are octonians? Quaternions. What are those? Do you know what those things are?
No, this does not mean a whole lot to me.
Okay. So either something all brand new or he's making it all up. It's kind of entertaining.
Okay. Well, let's stick with our news here. So that was the SpaceX story. There was another one that basically is just, somebody definitely has agenda math on this article at Futurism. And they're basically saying SpaceX had quite a bad night, and it is as negative as it can be. It is definitely only telling a portion of the story that certainly feels like it was on purpose.
Mhm.
So kind of unimpressed by this article, and that's where the cursing comes in. And Sean and
Yes, this is yeah. Sean has been mentioning that in multiple quotes on
yeah,
the private chat
right,
about this. It is completely BS,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so he may have a point.
But the sense of it's going to take a while to get to the revenues to justify the price. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's exactly it.
it's a trillionaire meme stock right now, and what happens when it kind of comes back to earth,
Right.
or does it, right? Or does it? Um, yeah, they're making a big deal out of this, $100 billion wipeout. But if it's a $2.6 trillion, that's not even 5%. That's not even a 5% dip. So I think it's going to take a while for this thing to normalize, and we won't know. And in a
Yeah.
couple weeks, we've got
Well, Dallas is asking, so what is it now? It closed at 185
yeah,
today.
that's what I had up a
Yep.
minute ago. Yep. So still, that's a $50 increase in just a few trading days, 4 trading days. So officially. So
Okay.
let's move on.
Okay. Okay. What do we have? Well, we have a couple of people actually got money.
Yep.
Catalyst Space raised 12 million for their geo-servicing demo mission. I've never heard of these guys. They want to do a geosynchronous orbit demonstration, a mission to boost the orbit of a NASA observatory.
Yeah. I know some folks that were up here in Seattle that were at Catalyst, and I think they're down in Arizona. And I'm not gonna out anybody, but they basically quit because they didn't like the direction that Catalyst was going.
Okay.
So I don't have any more information on them. But they literally quit because they didn't like the path that they were on. So I don't know
Right.
what that means. I don't know what that meant a year and a half ago. I don't know what it means today. So I'm
Yep.
not gonna weigh in on that one. Let's
Okay.
move to the
Well,
next one.
here's another one you may not weigh in on then because it's the same source. You can't read anything. Dawn Aerospace raised 25 million. They're scaling up its work both in space transportation and suborbital space planes.
I dig Dawn. Dawn Aerospace is no joke. They got a bit of a bad rep a couple years ago. They made some announcements that didn't pay off. But they're a modern version of Jeff Grayson's X-Core. It's a very, very, very small spacecraft
Okay.
of horizontal takeoff and landing. I think they basically modernized the Air Force's Space Force's 37 the X-37B, that super secret stealthy
Yeah.
one that they don't talk about. So this is a modern version that takes history from Sierra Space's Dreamcatcher. Uh, I think what's his name, Jim Benson, way back when,
Way back when.
way
The late,
back
great
when,
Jim Benson.
right?
Yeah.
So it is taking heritage from real programs, consolidating it, and trying to be a launcher of choice in the horizontal market.
Well,
So
that would be great because I always looked at that X-37 and saw, if you could just redo that a little bit, you could fit two people in there.
yeah,
You
I'm a
know,
big fan of these folks. I really
yeah,
want them to
I'd love to
succeed.
see that happen.
I think they're out of the Netherlands, and they've got a connection to Canada. If I might be kind of talking out my ass on that piece, but I think so. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Dallas is saying that
Okay. This is back in we're going back into sovereign country now.
All right. One of
Okay.
my favorite topics.
Yeah, France awarded Eutelsat 138 million euro contract to provide secure communications, and that's just Eutelsat's a big firm, and they just got in fact, they got a contract from France's Ministry of the Armed Forces under a €1 billion framework agreement that they signed about a year ago. And so it's all about defense procurement, covering priority access to capacity on Eutelsat's OneWeb constellation. Interestingly, they're finally making some money. And so they want diverse, secure, resilient, and sovereign connectivity for the conduct of modern operations. So, said the Director General for Armaments.
Yeah, I actually really like this. By relying on a trusted European solution that is immediately available and provide global low latency coverage. That sentence says so much, right? There's backlash to SpaceX, and there will be for a long time, and we've been seeing,
or the U.S. in general, stuff.
We've been reporting on this for more than a year now about that sovereignty component, and we're seeing it everywhere. So we will continue to see it. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, next up. Oh, here's going to be the fun one. NASA announces, here we go. NASA announces a public-private partnership to advance Mars science. The people, especially I won't call them cockroaches, but they're the people who want to get a head start or a jump start on the stuff they're doing, always recommend and advocate for public-private partnerships, to get their deal done. The public partner spends all the money. The private partner, God knows what they spend theirs on. And I've never seen one actually work out well. And this is the problem I have with these things. And it's not even just space. I've seen other examples of this, and they never work out.
We do it in road systems out here. We do it in dams out here. Yeah, big.
The public partners have a completely different culture and a philosophy of expending resources than the private sector partners do.
Right.
Sooner or later, one of those elements are going to be out of balance, and one of them will take over, and then it turns into something else that you didn't expect, want, or ask for.
Right.
Every time.
And I've been a part of two of those twice now, and they worked out for a while, and then they definitely don't, because they're coming at this from the perspective of, if you're on the government side of a public partnership, then your metrics are economic development, wage growth, skill growth in the region, tax base. And on the private side, you're like, I want to pay as few taxes and hire as few people to make as much money as we can. Right. Those are completely opposite perspectives.
They're diametrically opposed to each other.
But this article goes hand in hand with the next one, because it's relativity space that is doing this deal.
Yeah.
Right. So not to throw relativity under a bus, but there's a reason that Eric Schmidt bought it, because it was going under as an organization. And
right.
Yeah, so it's a big check. There was this next article talks about, is it 400 million? What is it? What's the number here? Suddenly I can't find the number. Let me see if I can do but yeah, it was like a 400 million, maybe it was in the first article. Anyway, either way, whichever article it's like a $400 million mission to a company that has not successfully gotten to orbit.
Right. Exactly right.
Oops. How do you get a $400 million?
That's the problem that we have with it.
Right.
Yeah.
I get why people, I'm a big believer in having multiple vendors, and you heard me talk about containerization and standardization on stage last week or a week and a half ago. But and I don't like the monopoly role that we're in now. Blue Origin needs to get their shit together and start flying more. Rocket Lab needs to boost its cadence. And cool, good. Relativity should come online and start doing some stuff. We need that competition But yeah, I don't think I would offer my first contract of $400 million to a company that has their track record. That just was.
Yeah, that's why I think it's so weird. He goes in there and says, "Okay, we've never had a successful launch, but now we're going to do this huge thing, and we're going to go to
Right.
Mars in 2 years." And it's like, well,
Yeah. So I was a little unimpressed by this. And so the first article is a NASA press release saying, "Hey, we're doing this public-private partnership." The second article, exactly the same topic, digs in a little further and says, "By the way,
right, because but interestingly, I mean, yeah, they're getting this contract, but we just finished advocating on the previous article that they
right,
shouldn't be doing public-private partnerships. They should be just buying the ride.
yeah,
And never has there been a time in history where you have so many opportunities technically to buy the ride
yep,
than we have right now at this point
yep,
in our lives.
yep."
There's no excuse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Blue Origin does swear that before the end of this year, they're going to have that whole, have that whole crane fixed and put that and build a new, a new Glen, and they're going to launch it before the end of the year.
I hope so.
Yes.
I don't know if I believe that, but I hope so.
Okay, so we got that. Here's the weird one. China sent a secretive probe to one of our quasi moons, and we're going to attempt a first of its kind landing. They won't say which one is it. I hope it's not the same one that our buddy Wes Fairs is trying to claim.
It's not. They name it. It's Hawaiian, so it's hard for me to pronounce it, but it's Kamo-Oa-Liwa. Kamo-Oa-Liwa. So it is named, it is known, and I know a little bit about it, but it is not the rock that Wes is going after. So that's good. Yeah, but it's great. China's going out there and poking around and not making claims. Important distinction, but. And I don't think it is the first of a kind landing.
Oh no, there have been other probes that have at least touched. Do you really land on an asteroid, or you just touch it for a while because the gravity's so low?
Touch and go. Yeah, touch and
go.
And I don't know why they're calling it a secretive probe. It may not be in mainstream American news, but I don't think they're doing it in secret. It's been posted.
Right.
So I feel like this is very strongly agenda present agenda news, agenda reporting.
Right. We put although Sean is right, he said we did send a probe into a comet.
Yeah.
So we've done a few things with this.
Yeah.
But I hate to see Wes going, "Hey, wait a minute, hey."
Yeah, right. That's my rock. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Interesting comment just on the previous one. Joe Luttrell's with us. Hi, Joe.
Hey,
He said, so NASA will part with $400 million on an unknown quantity.
Yay, good time. Good branding.
Good. But smaller companies with more expertise are left out.
Yeah.
He said. So yeah, I wish I knew more about how that deal was done. But yeah.
That
for budget for dinner parties. And only the best wines.
Right. Well, it is Eric Schmidt, right? I mean,
yeah.
I know who was it that we know that was walking the halls of Congress and saw Palmer Luckey from Anduril, and then just 3 weeks later, Anduril gets a giganto contract. Like, that cannot be a coincidence. It cannot be.
No.
So if you're Eric Schmidt and you're ex-Google and you're like, hey, NASA, let's have dinner. Let's have a conversation. So I do believe that that's how some of those deals get made. I do.
Yep.
I'm not apologetic for that belief.
Yep.
All
Absolutely.
right. Next.
Well, interestingly, of course, now that SpaceX is public and it's big on building Starlink and more and more and more and launching more and more and more, standard terrestrial broadcasters want what they call non-GSO satellite operators, meaning SpaceX, to shoulder more FCC fees. They say proposed Earth station fees would burden fixed satellite facilities.
Huh. I had not seen this one. Yeah, you're
Yep.
catching me a little off guard here. I don't
Yep.
know much on this topic.
Broadcasters are pushing back against the Federal Communications Commission proposed fee hike for Earth stations, arguing that low Earth orbit broadband operators like Starlink should shoulder more of the agency's regulatory costs. And so I think it's because FCC proposed a 46% increase in regulatory fees for Earth station licenses.
Okay.
And they feel that they're unfairly burdened by that. So, okay. I don't know what they're going to.
I mean, volume pricing is a thing, right?
Yep.
They do own 80% of whatever is up in the sky now. So that feels a little bit fair. I see where they're coming from. I don't have a dog in this fight, so I'm not going to pretend knowledge that
exactly.
I don't have.
But now they did ask the agency to cap the fee at $2,500 per Earth station license, which is still a 21.36% year-over-year increase.
Okay.
But the fixed facilities require minimal oversight because they don't move or change operating parameters. So they're making all sorts of arguments here that actually almost make a little bit of sense. We'll see where that goes. I'll be curious to keep an eye on that and see what happens with them.
Yeah, I'm a little out of my element on that topic, but just reading this article, I get where they're coming from.
You're out of your helmet most of the time, lad. I'll tell you that right now. Especially that tinfoil covered one you were wearing.
Right.
Saucepan with a. Okay.
Let's skip this next article and go to the last one because we wanted to bring Sean in to talk about infrastructure. I know he has something to say about this other one too. So,
the 2035 thing. Yeah, we can move this. Okay, so this is Aviation Week, and somebody there is asking the I don't know if it's a rhetorical question or a real one. Is SpaceX's Mars mission based on an unproven and dangerous premise? And so I'm going through this. It says very little public thought or research has addressed the biological, technical, and ethical problems of creating a self-sustaining civilization, a goal that necessitates reproducing and raising children on a planet that is hostile to all forms of life. And they say his faulty premise is that the short-term survival of highly trained astronauts in space proves that humans can certainly live and reproduce on Mars. That's a load-bearing assumption, they say. And if it collapsed, it would change the calculus for SpaceX investors and for early settlers motivated by founding a new branch of human civilization on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
So they could all die, in other words.
Right. And it's not like people don't know that. You've heard me say 20 times on this show that if we can't figure out babies in space, we're just camping. I was at an event this last week. I kind of know Scott Solomon, kind of. We're in the same crowd. We don't really agree on stuff, but having babies in space is really hard. We do not know how to do that. So the author is right about this false premise. It is unproven. It probably is dangerous for those earliest embryos. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm bullish on the folks that we talked about earlier, Dawn, is that I know that they have a plan to work on some experimentation on how to have babies in space. there's definitely a crawl, walk, run plan in place. So this article feels like it's his statement that says there hasn't been enough conversations. We've been having this conversation for 25 years. You're just late to the party, buddy.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. This conversation has been happening for a long time. You're just learning about it, so you are late.
Right. Absolutely. It's interesting. Of course, Sean is commenting the whole time. He goes into Yoda mode here when he says, longevity research it is.
Pardon me. Sorry. Go ahead. Say again.
Longevity research it is. Sounds like Yoda.
Yeah.
But okay, you want to go back to the other one and then lead into the main topic?
Yeah, let's bring Sean in, and for this last one, I'm looking up. I know. Bring it up. I'm going to find something about this babies in space topic for a second.
Okay. All right. Well, some people on Space Daily today said that I don't know what group is doing this, but they're basically saying, well, according to the World Economic Forum and some other McKinsey's overview of the space economy structure, by 2035, the global space economy is expected to basically triple from our current 630 billion to 1.8 trillion. And it'll be driven by satellite constellations, Earth observation, commercial space stations, and early stages of lunar resource extraction. And in a quiet industrial revolution that many economists believe will exceed the speed of every previous economic transition in modern history. Well, I would say, and off the top, it can't come fast enough for me, but hey, that's me. I'm not getting any younger. I just want to see it happen.
I'm gonna post a link. These folks just came out to Seattle last week. The Advanced Space Life Research Institute. They had a whole big session. It was fascinating and interesting, and nobody has taken this problem for granted. Nobody. They were very serious about this, and it was. So I have a take one of the speakers, Tom. It was Jim Logan. Dr. Jim Logan was on that show, on that panel. It was a whole day event. So if anybody's interested in that topic, that's that GeekWire article. Sorry, please continue about this article.
So this projection here, this was actually made last year too. It was 600 billion. Remember when we had Dr. Garrison on? He pointed out like only 200 billion really affects the direct space economy, whereas the other 400 billion is for downstream services that the economy, the actual space part doesn't get. It's those providers of services get. So that's number one to keep in mind. And number two, this never took into account the effect that data centers in space could possibly have. So I think this is under projected, number one. And number two, the economics is not quite, you got to understand there's two parts of economics working here. The downstream economics and then, of course, the space operations, which is where we mostly operate at because we want to have the habitats, we want to have the transit points, we want to have travel between the planets, we got to get off the world. Those are the boring stuff that we like, but it doesn't really get that much. It's the downstream stuff that's going to get the most.
Well, this is what I kind of say that in the article. They really try to make a difference between what's real and what's aspirational. The stuff that the drivers that attract the most popular attention, like asteroid mining and lunar resources and helium-free and manufacturing and tourism, they're not the drivers of the 1.8 trillion projection they're making at all. And so,
that
may not happen.
That's be nice if it's an infrastructure play, because you're going to need that. Look, SpaceX, in my opinion, should be siloed away from the rest of the commercial space industry and just call it an industry of its own. Because honestly, we'll get benefit effects, but SpaceX is going to do what SpaceX does. If you try to compete with him, he's been doing it for so long. He has a very specific mindset. He's got a culture that he has built, designed to maximize the usage of space. Period. Unfortunately, everybody's like, I am very interested in this widget, but I'm not interested in the whole damn thing around the widget.
Yeah.
Right.
And he built the whole damn thing around the widget.
Right.
Recently, one of the articles I read is that, and one of the reasons why people are bullish on it is they're saying that it is the only vertically integrated data company, right? Everybody else was relying on other things, but they've got the rockets, the energy system, the chips, the communications platform, the distribution.
Yeah.
There's some real serious talk about SpaceX buying T-Mobile, so that one's new. Last week we talked about them buying Intel, and a lot of people assume they're going to buy Tesla. All of those things are in the mix there, and none of that is reflected in this article because this article is 15 months out of date. It's not that they're wrong, it's just that the world has moved past when this McKinsey report was written. 2004, April 2024. April 2024 was a long goddamn time ago.
Yep. But I did write an article back in September. I had to pull it up and look at it where I projected that they were wrong, and it was probably going to be more than double in that time frame. And I'm sticking by that. I'm just putting my numbers on double. I'm hoping to go past it, but I'm putting on double.
$3 trillion, $4 trillion.
I'm being conservative. I'm going to say 3.
Okay.
But that's because of it's the tech. It's a tech effect. They have deeper pockets than space, the space industry, period. My thing is if you adopt the technology just to get the money, you're going to screw up. But you got to have an actual reason to do it. And going back to the integrated system, the AI system, that's exactly right. That's the reason why people are paying for it. But the other thing is that he maximized the network effect of that integrated stack. And that's the reason why everybody's just high on the reason why the stock price is so high. Everybody's getting SpaceX high, like you said, in about 4 months when it settles down, all the early money traders are out and the arbitrage has kind of stabilized it, then we'll know what the real price is. And I suspect it's probably going to be what he called 135.
Okay.
Yep.
I do not know of any plans to update this McKinsey article, this World Economic Forum report. I think it's definitely time, and this is so different from the Space Foundation report. So it really, like, how do you count the money, right? Amazon makes $700 billion a year, and they have a satellite division. You don't count all $700 billion. You only count a portion, right?
Right.
SpaceX now has got $45 billion in AI data services, but only $20 billion in rocketry services. So you have to carve out those pieces to get a number that's real. So
and that's the reason why I think a lot of the comparisons are just not justified, because they're not carving out. They're just saying he's got a loss here, but he's got excess here.
I want to clarify, Dallas and Doug. They're having a conversation here. SpaceX just spent $60 billion on a company purchase this week. Is that what they wanted? The $75 billion? No, Dallas, that's not. That was an all equity transaction. There was no cash at all. They just absorbed Cursor into their system with no dollars traded at all. I checked on that today because I was really curious about that. So they still should have. Oh, and also to clarify, Dallas, it's not 75 billion. That is what was published on the day of, but then all of the market makers that made the transaction possible, they also were allowed to exercise their specialty set-aside shares. So they raised actually $85 billion.
Yeah.
Not 75. So they have a war chest of $85 billion in cash, not counting everything else.
Okay. Guys, we have 10 minutes to go. I want to bring up this other thing. It was this last thing of the day. I thought it was vaguely important, and it was on LinkedIn today. It was written by a guy who calls himself Israel Gold. He is the founder and CEO of Afrinex Group, and I think they're building trading networks and platforms for startup companies and things in Africa in general.
We do not know this guy at all. We don't know the company.
Yeah, we don't know this guy at all, but
Right.
he says something that I think is really profound, and I want to share it with everyone because I think it's vaguely important. I'm going to have to read it. I mean, we can post it, but half our listeners on Spotify won't know what's going on. So I'm going to read it very quickly, and then we can. I think it's important. We should talk about it.
Great.
What he says is this. The next Elon Musk may already be in Africa. The next Jensen Huang may already be in Nigeria. The next Yang Kum may already be in Ghana. The next Sergey Brin may already be in Kenya. But talent alone is not enough. Look closely at some of the world's most successful founders. Many were immigrants. Many left their home countries. Many arrived in America with little more than ambition. Yet they built companies worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Why? Because America built a machine that converts ambition into scale, capital, infrastructure, research institutions, legal protection, world-class talent, a culture that rewards risk-taking. The lesson is not that America has better people. The lesson is that America built better systems. A brilliant entrepreneur in a weak ecosystem spends energy fighting power outages, regulatory uncertainty, fragmented logistics, weak financing, and broken infrastructure. A brilliant entrepreneur in a strong ecosystem spends energy building. That difference changes history. The greatest loss for many developing nations is not the talent that never existed. It is the talent that existed but could not scale. If Africa wants trillion-dollar companies, we must stop asking, where are our Elon Musks? And start asking, where is the ecosystem that allows them to thrive? The future belongs to countries that build platforms, infrastructure, logistics, networks, payment rails, data systems, manufacturing capacity, and innovation ecosystems. Talent is everywhere. Opportunity is not. The nations that create opportunity will attract the world's best builders, and the nations that fail to do so will continue exporting their brightest minds. There we go. I know Sean is going to have something to say about that.
Amen. 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 Hallelujah.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
Preach, brother. Preach to us.
I remember sitting in class. It was basically about culture. And the business school was talking about transferring, the German stakeholder theory and how great it was. And I'm like, hold on, we have a problem here, Houston. I said, number one, culture doesn't travel. It's part of the people. And it's nothing wrong with culture. It's just different. You got a culture that's risk averse. You're not going to have the same result as one that isn't risk averse. We have a system built in that's designed to. That's the reason why if you act like a victim in the United States, you'll fail. You have to try.
Yep.
You cannot be a victim for mental health reasons and several other reasons. But you transfer the German stakeholder theory for our viewers. German stakeholder theory says that in the boardroom, the labor has a seat, the regulators have a seat, the owners have a seat. And they're like, well, nothing goes wrong. Well, I dug up cases where things did go wrong. You can come complacent with those three groups for the sake of the company and still sink it. Mm-hmm. And so that was my argument, by the way. But culture will not travel. Culture will fit in some places, but will not always travel. So culture does matter. That was a great thing that he brought up.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it.
I'm gonna just put up Doug Plaza. By the way, Doug and Dallas, appreciate your comments there. I do think that our universities are one of our greatest assets. That as we invite students in, and some of them stay and stay and stay, and then build profound things, we do definitely need to increase this 100%.
Elon's an immigrant.
Yeah, right. That article posted, Sergey Brin from Russia, Jensen Huang from Taiwan. WhatsApp was built by a Ukrainian. eBay was built by a guy from France, Pierre Amstar. It's a long list. We all know the list. We've been watching it happen. Most people don't know this, but I'm 1/8 Panamanian Indian. My grandmother immigrated from a small island, the San Blas Islands, and she was from the Kuna tribe. And I mean, she worked her ass off in America. She's not a great name, blah, blah, blah. It was a different world, but both of my grandparents are immigrants. One from Denmark, my grandfather on one side of the family, and the other from Panama. So I saw that firsthand. They're my grandparents, so I'm third generation, but remarkable the effort that they put into this country. When I was invited to go to Greece, I was supposed to be there for just 1 week. And they asked me to stick around. I was there for 5.5 months because they wanted to take NASA style technology, hard tech. There wasn't a term for hard tech back then. This is 2007. And they wanted Greece to be, quote, the Silicon Valley of Europe. And it does not help when you laugh at your client. It does not help you when you start laughing at them because they're serious. And I'm like, you can't. You don't have the culture. You don't have the community. You don't have the ethos. You don't have the, risk tolerance. You don't have the legal regime. You don't have it. You don't have it. Sorry. So what was your rant, Tom? You brought this up. What were you thinking about this?
What was I thinking about this? I don't know. You got me off on heritage now. All I can say is I'm half Brit and half Viking. All I'm bringing to the table is probably one of the most powerful livers in the world, given both those cultures. So,
nice.
No, I think I just thought it was the whole idea of it was very important. If you have a culture that rewards risk taking and entrepreneurship, because we also have the rest of the infrastructure that includes finance and protection of intellectual property. I mean, all of that stuff has to factor in.
Well,
so if you don't have that, the places like India are, they're finding ways to catch up. They're still also finding ways to drag themselves back down, like the proverbial, crab in the bucket. They got a bucket of crabs over there, and there's a lot of other countries, especially in Europe, are that way too.
We do have private property laws are very strong compared to some other places.
Yep.
And we do have an ability to file bankruptcy, which is very key.
Yep.
And the stigma isn't the same. If you fail in Korea, I've lived in Korea and Japan and Spain and Greece and Canada twice and Panama. I was 2 years old for Panama, so don't really count that one. But if you have a culture that penalizes failure, you cannot build a space elevator. You cannot. Nowhere in that culture.
You cannot be bold.
Possible.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's
I was going to say, years and years ago, I read something years ago that said the average millionaire in America had filed bankruptcy 3 times.
Right.
Which means a lot of them never did, and some guys filed 20 times or something in their life.
I never
they
filed.
Still all made it. They picked themselves up and they made it.
I never filed, but I'm on Space Elevator version number 5, and it's my 7th company.
There you go.
So, and that's the reason why I think the EU is going really. I'm giving them props for their, making efforts to expand their space sovereignty, but they're going to face a lot of challenges because the culture has a bit of they got to challenge, do some deep digging and figure out how they're going to address risk, because this is a risk-taking industry.
Yep. I think that, Tom, I think this is a worthwhile conversation. Maybe we should bring in some folks that are kind of experts on this topic, and maybe if we can find some people to
In a future show.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, cool.
Absolutely. Maybe we can bring in this guy himself who wrote
Yeah,
the thing. I did reach out to try to hook up with him. He's only second tier on LinkedIn, so maybe he'll sign up and maybe he'll see the show tonight and or later.
Tell him we talked about his post. That should be a pretty.
Yes,
good
that's what I told him. That was my intro.
Yeah.
I run this show, and we're talking about your post tonight. Just saying.
Yep.
We'll
Want to connect and talk about it some more.
I'll get a clip and we'll send it to him.
Oh, okay. I got. All right. I know we're going over time. I got to post Doug's special economic zones. I don't know if you read Sean's article about a month ago, but economic development zones was a really big deal that Sean just wrote about. So,
Yep.
But those were more space-based related.
And Hong Kong worked well when the Chinese left it alone.
Right. We're out of time, guys.
We're out of time, guys. Oh God.
I'm the producers, guys.
Yeah, where's our producer? Say, hey, it's time. It's time. Okay. Hoist on your own petard, my friend. But it is. But sadly, it is time. And this is a great conversation. And all the right people are here tonight. It's just wonderful. And thanks for coming, and thanks for making all your great comments as well. On Monday, we have a returning guest, Ron Weiner, CEO of Venture Mechanics. That's going to be amazing because basically he had so much he was on about. We're going to basically be picking up right where we left off.
Yeah,
that'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern. Of course, next Thursday, Dallas Beanhoff is coming back to join us. It's going to be a great week next week. Hope you'll join us for that. And on that note, for Sean Key and Michael Lane, I remain Thomas Andrew Olson. Keep watching the skies.